Everybody hear you. Make people know you're here. There we go. There we go.
There we go. Hi.
Hey, world. Good to have all of you here. Excited to be live streaming. It's better than to be dead streaming, right? I like it. Means we're live. We're going strong. Welcome to Team Legacy and to HGI, the greatest story in American business. We have a wonderful group with us today, and we're excited to learn to get better. And we want to be immediate action guys. We want to implement what we hear today, but we're also all about activity. Guys, there's only two things that you control, and that is your attitude and your activity. And I'm just going to be a broken record on this because they're the only two things that you can control. So you ought to take total control of those things and then bet everything on them. And we're going to talk about today your activity. And specifically what that means is sharing the message, the things you're going to hear today, with whatever markets you market to. If you're all about, going out and prospecting on using social media, get this message out there. We're going to give you great tips and ideas to go use. If you're using it in seminars, if you're doing it with referrals, people are all around. The other day, I was in California, unfortunately going out to a funeral, but I was out there and not California, I was in Utah. But while I was there, I was with Carla, who used to be my assistant, and she was there, and I was talking to her, and I was in this hotel lobby, a real nice hotel that I stay in out there. I just love the way it's laid out. Got a lot of activity. All these people from all over the world here. Because I'm thinking, so many of you are sitting in cities and you're like, well, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know where to go. Well, just go everywhere. Look around you. I'm sitting here in this lobby and there's at least 100 people going in different directions, groups coming in. And I'm thinking, here are all these people gathered in one place. I said, we can just, it's just so easy. And she was just like, well, what do you mean? I said, let me show you. This couple walks by. There's normal couple in t-shirts and shorts, but you can tell they're happy. They have their two kids with them. They're just full of life. And I said, man, you guys are awesome. They had Kentucky and Indiana shirts on. So what do you think I talked about? Basketball, because that's the heartland of basketball. That's two of the greatest schools in history. I said, well, which one are you for? Kidding around about them. And I said, man, I almost would love to have gone to either one of those schools to play ball. And we get to talking and we find out that there's this great couple that are in town because there's something that his wife, she's a teacher, or something that they're doing. And I said, oh yeah, one of my best friends and business partners, they were teachers. And then I said, what do you do? He goes, I sell insurance on crops. I said, wow. And I tell him a little bit about what we do. And he goes, well, what do you guys do? And I told him a little bit. He goes, you know what? He goes, I've always known I needed to add something. I said, no worries. I'm going to tell you what it is. I got his number and he went home. Guys, they're everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. All you got to do is open your mouth and just talk to people. And that was without even me using any of the clever things you're going to hear today. So activity, activity, activity. Your activity will take you where you need to go. Okay. So having said that, sets the tone for today. Turn it over to our great partner, Tim O'Rourke.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Jody.
You bet.
This goes to say right away what Jody's talking about is being informed, having some knowledge about overall what's going on in our world, in the investment world, in the insurance industry, in our industry is such a powerful thing. You've heard me talk about this many times. We're 15 years now into the greatest bull market the U.S. has ever seen. This is absolutely incredible. And what was the catalyst of this bull market? I remember getting into the industry back in 1982. Okay, this was back in the era when we were coming out of very high inflationary times when Jimmy Carter, who was really a great guy, I think he came into the presidency of the United States back then at a very difficult time. But he came in when inflation was out of control. And they had to keep raising inflation, raising interest rates to stop inflation. And that's been the tool of the Federal Reserve. It's a blunt instrument, as you probably heard me say before. But I came in 82 and they had to slowly lower interest rates. And so we saw this huge market from around 82 until about 2 years ago, where I would say it was the largest bond bull market that we've seen, about 40-year bull bond market. And now that's kind of flipped now because we since about 2009, 2010, we've seen interest rates basically zero out. So let's talk a little bit about the effect of that, because what's happened here is we've seen very low cost of money out there in the public sector. And what that does is that spurred a lot of growth. It saved the economy in a lot of ways. And also in the same breath, Congress and our government infused out of thin air 27 trillion. Now get your arms around that. And Zach and Kimberly have talked about this many times. All this money that is printed, we have the luxury right now, and who knows how long that could take. We are the dollar, currency of the world currency, and everything is priced off the dollar right now. And we've had that luxury of being able to print money as we needed. And so what that relates to is our deficit. So we've created this ongoing deficit, but that's 27 trillion, of which 11 has been created just since 2020. So when you see the impact of that kind of money being dumped into our market, the greatest infusion of capital is by the US government into our economy. And so when you think about that, what's happened is they have to keep putting that money in and to keep this artificial economy going, because that's what I think it is. It's a complete artificial economy. The pricing on stocks is artificial. It's a bubble. And the unemployment is artificial. It's a bubble. Real estate is up 47% since the beginning of 2020. I can't even conceive how that's even possible. Imagine you own a piece of property and in 4 years, it went from let's say $1 million value, and now it's worth $1.5 million. I mean, that's like, wow. So what's happened in the real estate market is it's pretty much frozen because no one wants to get rid of their 3% mortgage. Why would they? And so there's very little property to sell. There's huge amount of equity because a lot of people have paid off their mortgages. A great transfer of wealth has already started and is already taken place. So a lot of people own their houses. And so there's a huge amount of equity that's out there. Interest rates are back up. There's a bubble there. When you think about the bubbles out there, I mean, it could be one of the biggest bubble times. Could be bubble gum time. And all of a sudden now, we're looking at higher taxes coming on. And the reason why higher taxes are going to happen and why what we do is so important. And what Jody just said is just going out there and talking to people is such a powerful thing, is because they're going to raise taxes. Let me say that again. Our government, our Congress, our elected officials are going to raise taxes. You know how they're going to do it? Hot dog. You're not going to believe this one. They're not going to do anything. They're not doing nothing. They're going to go home. They're going to leave. They're going to leave Washington, and they're going to raise taxes because it all sunsets, the tax cuts, in 2025. So what's the easiest thing for Congress to do? Nothing. Zero. What is the greatest tool to pass on wealth that we have before us? It's sitting right in your hands. It's life insurance. Life insurance. Life insurance is the only tool where you can take the money that you built your whole life, you worked, you planned, you built, and you saved. And why not spend that money, mom and dad? Why not plan to spend that money, kids, as you're saving and raising a family? Leverage life insurance to pass wealth on tax-free. I mean, that's your story. I mean, we're talking about bubbles out there. We're talking about, so many things going on here. The Federal Reserve is trying to manipulate, interest rates. They're so far out of it, they don't even understand what's going on. And I mean that respectfully. These are very smart people, and they're trying to say, oh, we're going to have a soft landing and all this. they raised interest rates basically to strangle the economy because it was growing too fast. And then all that infusion of capital causes inflation. And now they're trying to stop it because it caused, what was a 9.1% inflation a couple of years ago. I mean, that's a huge amount of inflation. And so when you start, raising interest rates, it's going to stop the growth. Then you've got a trend going on right now that they cannot stop. Is they've got geopolitical issues going on all over the world, in the Middle East, and Russia and Ukraine, and there's fighting other places. Shipping channels are being blocked, so oil cannot get transported. And in fact, now they got to extend the routes. The insurance coverage costs more. Cost of shipment is costing more. Trucks, transportation costs. This is going to keep inflation up. This is going to cost more inflation. So inflation is, if anything, it's not going to go down. It'll go sideways is the best thing that'll happen. And then as these bubbles start to pop, which will happen, and who knows when, as I always say, but sometime here in the close future, it's our job to go out there and engage people. It's our job to go out and tell a story. We have a phenomenal story to tell. And with the economy where it is right now, we're hitting record highs. There's a dysfunctional connection between the economy and the stock market. It's true. It's true. And no matter what we say or do, we have to go out there and tell that story and tell people that we have a solution. We have an opportunity for you. We have an opportunity to protect you and your family. And we have tools that we can do and leverage that can protect you with an asset through a tool that is the only one of its kind. And so that I encourage you, off of some of the words that Jody was just talking about, I encourage you to go out and tell your story. Tell your story about yourself. Tell your story about what you learn here, what you learn about the economy, what you learn about what's going on, in your neighborhood, about your friends. That's the greatest tool anyway. I'll get off the soapbox here, but the markets continue to surprise me. Even they're hitting new highs on the S&P, hitting new highs with NASDAQ. Again, the tech sector, the AI, artificial intelligence, is leading everything. Again, that will be a bubble that will fall apart. It reminds me of the 2000s, the internet times when that was a big bubble. So these times will fall apart again, and we're overdue for a correction. So as you see this all come to fruition, it'll probably happen sometime in early 2025. So be prepared, go out and tell the story. So Kimberly, I'll turn it back over to you. I think you got the lead.
Thank you, Jody.
She's always got the lead.
Thank you, guys.
And that is recorded for posterity and forever and ever and ever and ever on YouTube. Just in case.
Absolutely. But we are excited about what we're going to talk about today. We got several things to talk about. First of all, kind of it let you know what we're going to do as we go forward. We're excited for the makeup for this call. I think it's fantastic. We're going to build a nighttime call around it. Also, I'm excited to announce we're going to have a call probably on Wednesday nights. It's going to be on one of our products each time in some depth. So we'll tell you more about that later. So I'm excited about that. But what we want to do every week is we want to take a little bit of time to tell you what's new. I love what Tim tells us. It just makes you feel smart, makes you feel stronger. And you just need to know we don't need to live in our own bubble, and we don't need to live with our head in the sand. We need to understand some things. So I appreciate that. That's the purpose of that. But we also can let you know what's new, what tools are available from our carriers for you to go use. And then also we're going to teach you some principles, because today we're going to go right along with the principles we've been dealing with. We're also going to give you some tips each week on closing, some powerful statements to use that right now are hot, that are getting people to listen. So we're excited to get into that. So Kimberly, go ahead and show them some of the things that you're excited on the back office.
Yeah, so Gail and I were working together yesterday, and we were talking about how to run illustrations, and just having a simple video that shows me how to run it, how to present it, what to talk about. And then I remembered that North American had this really great website that they had created for us. So I just want to remind you guys that it is there. It is at your fingertips. And also inside our back office, I'll show you that in a second, but let me show you this North American website first and foremost. So if you look at this, it's northamericancompany.com/HGI. And North American has really tried to bring their educational pieces to fit HGI and where we are, right? Because we're not a traditional agency. We've got people that start out from all walks of life with no experience and everything. So if you click down here, so anyway, you need to bookmark that page so you have it. But if you scroll down, it says resources for HGI agents working with North American, and then it's got your different levels. So when you first start out as an associate, you have this option, right? Then you've done it for a minute, you're mid-level, and then ultimately you're executive level, so you're ready to proceed with some of the things that you're learning. But if you click on this associate level tab, it's telling you exactly what it's going to talk about: North American's products and who they fit, marketing materials available to you, running an optimized illustration, and managing submitted applications, which I think is a really big piece to understand on the back end, how to go into the back offices of these carriers and how to look at that. I'm not going to watch this video, but obviously build on your success associate level. If you kind of scroll around the bottom, it's a 28-minute video. So the first minute and a half is a product overview, and then it goes into marketing materials, and then it goes into running an illustration. And they literally, and you can't see it up here, but you can probably see it as I'm scrolling through. They literally, like, if I click this, it's literally going to go through step by step by step what to choose and how to run that illustration. So it's at your fingertips anytime you need it. If you don't have someone with you, if you have a question, if you just forgot, and then obviously managing your applications in back office. So we have a lot of tools, and I know that they're in multiple places, and sometimes that gets confusing. But remember, North American has made it super easy for you, and they've put it in a website all created just for you. As I was looking through this earlier, I was like, I wonder what else is here. I think this is fantastic. Products at a glance. If you click on it, it's just going to open up a web page that's been created for us. So what are your clients, what's your client's focus? Are they focused on guarantees, low cost, early cash value, or just cash value? Hey, my clients want to grow cash value for retirement income down the road. What's the product I should choose? If I click on it, it's going to tell me to write a Builder Plus IUL on my client. It's going to share sales concepts with videos with my clients. Like, it's going to give me all of these tools at my fingertips. If I want cash value early inside North American, then it's going to give me the Smart Builder IUL, and it's going to tell me that that's what I should do. And if ultimately I'm like, yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what to choose, what should I choose? I can view all products, and they have that little tab on the left-hand side that tells you what they're best used for. So I have somebody that wants a guaranteed death benefit. I'm either going to do a custom guaranteed UL or the Protection Builder Universal Life. And I can run both of those illustrations and see what I think is best. It's also going to give you your highlights, right? Guaranteed death benefit up to age 120. It is guaranteed. It will never go away right here. That's what it's telling you. Low cost, obviously we've got Advantage Term, and then we've got other things. So just remember, you guys have a lot of tools at your fingertips that allow you to be independent if you want to be. It does not take place of field training and leadership and mentoring and all of that kind of stuff, but it is at your fingertips. And if you feel like you've been through your field training sales and you understand what you're doing, just not quite clear on how to run an illustration, it's recorded for you, and it's back there as well. You've got a toolkit back here that's got products, sales concepts, strength and stability of the company. I saw a guy do a TikTok yesterday, and he was talking about, how do I know if a life insurance company is a good life insurance company? And he was talking about the ratings of the insurance carriers. Their strength and stability is right there. I click on it and I'm like, I don't know. Tell me about North American strength and stability. It's right there at my fingertips, and it tells us beginning to end. You could send it to your clients and it's there. So I think that's a big piece that I want you guys to know, and I want you guys to understand. So anybody have any questions about that?
One thing I want to say on that real quick, Kimberly, is that, guys, we're not telling you to use North American or to not use North American. We're just showing you that they have a phenomenal piece. Now, the other carriers do too, and we'll make sure you know what those are. But also, if you learn that information, it's generic. A lot of that information is generic information, teaching you how the whole thing works. It applies to all the other products. So it's a great startup piece, and that kind of information is there. So we're going to make sure you see it every week.
Absolutely. Trying to get this to pull up from my current slide. Oh, there you go. Okay. So this is something Jody and I were just talking about, concepts, and I think concepts are super important to understand. I think it gives you quick things to say. We talk about the power of indexing. That's a concept. We talk about Rule of 72. That's a concept. We talk about infinity banking. That's a concept. Like, we have a lot of different things. Remember that page from the bot that goes over all of those different concepts? Well, one that was always super powerful to me was how investments handled taxes, right? We talk about taxes quite a bit. We talk about before tax money, after tax money, all of those things. And this is one that we put together, and we've used it since the beginning of time, since we started in this industry. And it was part of our 15-minute kind of, let me give you a teaser of what we do and what we teach people presentation to clients. But I don't think that we have that. I don't think we have something printed out like that. So I'm just going to show it to you from this current slide. So it's talking about the impact of taxes on compounding. When I first saw this, like, it blew my mind. The number one enemy to your wealth, other than procrastination, is taxation. What happens if you double a dollar 20 times? Let's see if this works. You have over $1 million, $1,048,000. But if you pay 30% income tax on every single double, does anybody know what you have? Only $40,000. So the difference in taxation and tax strategies are huge, and understanding how that works could be $1 million mistake for your clients. So when you think about that, and you think about, yes, Rule of 72, I want my money to double. Okay, great, my money's doubling. But if I'm paying taxes every single time that money doubles, I'm losing so much of my money. And I just think it's an important concept to understand the impact of taxes on compounding, and when that could be $1 million mistake to your bottom line. I think it's a super powerful concept. One last thing that I want to chat with you guys about, and then Jody, I'll let you jump in and I'll talk about things after you do. So I think it's always important to get better at your craft, right? And understand what's going on in the world around you, to hear other people's conversations and opinions and presentations, pitches, if you will. And obviously you guys know that we have NetLaw, and NetLaw is fantastic. If you don't know what NetLaw is, it is an online software program that we can use to create a will and a trust and financial medical powers of attorney, which is very, very important. And for all of that, I think it's like $600, which is significantly cheaper than somewhere else. But I have a lady who I think is fantastic. She's really great at what she does. She's local in Charleston, and she is an estate planning attorney. And she always has these little, she calls it wine and wills, right? So if you guys don't have some marketing ideas going off in your head, you need to, right? Wine and wealth, whatever. But she calls hers wine and wills. And I see it come up in my Facebook all the time about, you should go, you should go, you should go. And I don't know this lady personally, but on several of the pages that I'm involved in Charleston, people always recommend her, right? They love her. And I'm like, I need to hear what she has to say. So I signed up for Wine and Wills, and Zach and I went on Monday night, like the jorks that we are. He was like, Kimberly, really? I was like, oh, we're going. But I think it's fascinating. And I think understanding the world around you and listening to, especially something like that, right? That talks about how taxes will affect our estate planning and what you should do and how it works, and all of that is a really big deal. I will tell you that her beginning package for just a will started at $2,000, and it I think it was 2,000, 6,000, and 8,000 if you wanted her to do all of it for you. So a will was 2,000, a trust was 6, and then a trust where she literally transferred all your assets for you and everything was 8. So $600 at your fingertips from the comfort of your own home is a really, really big deal. But she said something that I hadn't ever really thought about. And if I haven't thought about it, you guys might have, you might not have, but I haven't really thought about it because I'm not an estate planning attorney, right? And she was talking about life insurance proceeds and children specifically. Obviously, you know, I have 4 kids. So I was like, what are you saying? Children inheriting life insurance. And in South Carolina specifically, children are not allowed to inherit assets under the age of 18. I'm sure it's different for every state, but that's what it is here. But at the age of 18, they inherit all of it with no handcuffs, no nothing. They get everything, right? Which is not a good idea either. And I didn't realize that. I didn't understand that. So if you put your kids as the beneficiary on the life insurance policy, somebody else is going to be in charge of it until they're 18. And then at 18, they get all of it. Not the best idea. So just by having that little piece of conversation that I went because I was just curious, right? What are you saying? What are you doing? But having that little piece of information, every single client that I meet with from this point forward, I'm going to share that with them, especially if they have children that they want to put on as beneficiaries on the life insurance policy. And I'm going to make sure they understand how important it is for them to have net law and to have a trust set up so that trust is the beneficiary of that life insurance policy, right? And that trust, their kids can be, receive the income from the trust and things like that, but it doesn't have to go to a third party. It doesn't go to them at age 18, because I can't imagine anything worse than giving an 18-year-old a ton of money to go do whatever they want to do with. But put yourself in situations to learn. It doesn't mean you have to be an expert in that subject. I certainly am not an expert from that 1 hour. But I did get a really great glass of wine, right? But I met some people, and I think she's great. And I think she could be a great referral source back and forth for people that are interested in sitting down with an attorney. But put yourselves in those situations. And, if you want to have a seminar like that, people make a fortune. I promise you that. I was actually really surprised. That room was packed, and there were probably 40 people in there, at least 40 people in there. Husband and wife came together, right? The couples were there, all of that. And all she did is, obviously the little place was a wine bar, and they catered charcuterie, right? Which isn't super expensive. And everybody had they had 2 choices of wine, like a glass of red wine, a glass of white wine, whatever they wanted. And then they sat and they listened, and she had 3 people there, setting appointments, follow-up appointments. And there was no way she was leaving that room for at least another hour, because people were hungry for that information. So, a million different ways to market, a million different ways to create business, a million different ways to stir up interest. But I think that's a great one. So just remember that as you're out there talking to people, as you're trying to figure out, how do I talk to more people, or how do I get into this market, and things like that, just go attend some events. A lot of times they're free. You're going to learn a lot of information, and you'll be able to make connections there as well. So anyhow, Jody? Oh, you're the host now. Did you know that you stole it from me again? But you're still muted, so I don't know if you can speak. Do you guys have any questions about that? That y'all want to talk about, or any marketing ideas that you've had that have worked really well for you while waiting on Jody to jump back on?
I'm here.
Oh, good.
But no, yeah, any questions, guys?
Hey, Kimberly,
Mhm.
where do you think is the best place to do one of these types of?
Oh, hold on, Jody's echoing.
I got
Yeah.
it. I got it.
Where do I think it's a great place to do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, because you did like wine and wills, but I mean, is a library a good place, or do you think it's better to do like a wine and will type?
Well, I think it depends, right? I think it totally depends. Libraries are free most of the time, so that's a big deal. That's important. You have to read the rules in your area for your libraries. A lot of times you can't sell out of there, but you can educate. you can teach, right? And then schedule appointments afterwards. But I think anything like that, whether it's, you could say wine and wealth, or you could say, I had a friend, a lady that used to be on our team, and she did, money and margaritas, I think, and like one Monday a month or one Wednesday a month or something like that. She had just people to her house, right? And she's like, hey, let's come over, let's socialize. I've had people do coffee and I don't know, some whatever would go with coffee, but there are plenty of coffee and chocolate and scents, I don't know. But there are plenty of ways to do things like that. I think the key is, in my opinion, I would keep it as cost effective as possible. You don't want to, I mean, if you're going to give them a big steak dinner, I hope you're marketing to really rich people, right? Because it's going to cost you money for that big steak dinner. But anything like that that's just fun and people want to come to, and their networking events, I think anything works. And I think you and Gail partnering together, in Missouri, I think you guys
Yeah.
would have a blast doing it. You got a big market in that area, and people know you and love you, so they would come.
Yeah, I was just texting Gail. I think Gail, you, Jade, and I should maybe do something like that.
I think that would be fantastic. And yes, we could host something here at my house, over the summer with the pool and everything like that. Or yeah, in a neutral place too. We'll have to figure that out. But
Yeah.
But houses are free, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it makes it a lot more personal. And at an event like that, I can just tell you from our experience, it depends, right? So if you're doing something formal like the lady did in Charleston, then it's a formal event and you give 15 minutes of socializing. But Zach and I walked in literally right at the time it was supposed to start, and it started probably 3 or 4 minutes later. And she respected everyone's time. So if you're going to socialize somewhere like that, it needs to be a pre-socialized thing. But my lady that used to have them at her home, the entire purpose, and then my sister used to sell like Rodan and Fields. They did things like that as well, right?
Yeah.
And their entire purpose of that event was socializing. And then maybe 15, 20 minutes sometime in the middle, it was a quick, let me show you what I do, or let me tell you why living benefits are so important, or let me tell you about our business opportunity and why I decided to come out of retirement and do this, right? Throw up some of those Montana hike pictures you keep texting me and make them a little jealous and tell them how amazing it is to be able to do both. And but you can be creative, right? Like he says all the time, hold a meeting, hold a meeting, hold a meeting, hold a meeting. It doesn't matter how you hold a meeting, just hold a meeting. Jody, I'm not can you make me a co-host? Because I can't mute some of these people.
Yeah, I'll get them too, but go ahead.
Okay. If you guys aren't muted, mute yourself. But anyway, lots of great ideas. Maria, you have a question or comment?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I have the opportunity to, on Thursday, one of my clients then already, I prepared 4 policies for him before I started in HGI. And we was talking about the trust, and we never did it. So I called him, and then I find out that he has 7 properties, including 2 clinics. And I was thinking I cannot sell him more policies because he bought all the policies that he needs for him and his family. But then I found out that he didn't do the trust yet. And on top of that, then he doesn't have the mortgage protection. So right there, it was like an amazing idea for me to help him out, complete what I start at the beginning of the year. But for my amazement, when I get into the back office to learn about the net law, to talk with property, I call the vice president immediately. And not even 15 minutes, he sent somebody to call me, okay? And Jennifer, she just sent me exactly what I need. To make the story short, she even mentioned to me, Maria, do you have any people with disability? Because we have an amazing trust for disability kids, and the parents need to know about that. And open up another idea for me, because my son have a spectrum of autism. So his teacher is the most amazing person that I learned. So I have this relationship with the teacher. So now I even gonna offer the teacher the opportunity to do a seminar for the whole entire group of disability kids than she has. But to make the story short, we, my husband and myself, we prepared the list. 5 people already knows about the trust, and we're gonna follow up because we have everything. And Jennifer send you everything that you need to close that and to teach step by step how they're gonna put that information into the software and get this done as soon as possible. One thing I tell you, my friend, and it's the doctor that have the 2 clinic, he told me, Maria, $600? I don't believe you. And I said, listen to this. I can buy it myself 600 and sell it to you for 3,000, 5,000. But this is not what I do. What I do is serving you. Exactly what I've been doing since January. So I just will appreciate then you give me referrals. And he said, but I can believe it because my friend paid $11,000 for the trust. And I'd be like, this is why I prefer you take that money and put it in another policy and another great things that you're gonna do for you and your family. I'm not gonna rip you off. What I'm doing is serving you and serving you with the best. So it is people outside that have all this money, all these properties, and they don't have a trust.
Yeah,
And,
most people
and we
don't. I
have the
agree.
best service.
Well, that's a great story and a great testimony. So thank you for sharing. And I think you guys will, the more you put yourself out there, the more you listen, the more conversations you have, the more opportunity for all of it than you'll have. Just really quickly, Jody, and I'll turn it back to you from a selling perspective. Gail just hired a new guy to her team, and he was originally from New York Life, and he's recruiting some lady, and she's like, what do I do? And he said, you could literally go stand outside the grocery store. Do you hear him say this? He's like, you could literally stand outside the grocery store for one day and ask every single person as they walk in, if you could get them life insurance for $1 a day, would they be interested? And you'd make 10 grand that month. And I was like, it's so simple. Like, that isn't how we run our business, right? That isn't what we do every single day. But marketing is just marketing, and open your ears and saying something to somebody. And there are plenty of ways to stir up business and recruits and opportunity if you just listen.
You know, that's fantastic because you just said it's not our business, but I want to know what business you're in if that's not your business. Did I miss a meeting somewhere? That is what we do, guys. And I know we run the system to get through it and all, but understand it's all about distribution. It's all about marketing financial products. And listen, at the beginning, I said we're all in on activity. I'm telling you, we're going to become maniacs on this. You should have 10 exposures a day. Honestly, and I don't care if you're full-time, part-time, or whatever, you should have 10 exposures on our concepts and 10 exposures on our opportunity every day. Just conversations, just saying things to people, anything that floats your boats. Because and I'm glad Maria brought up that disability trust, because I've already got a few texts on that kind of fired some people up. But listen, I want us to be a team of action, not feel good. Because a lot of times we'll have a call and you'll be like, oh, that sounds great. But then we don't do anything about it. Go act on it. Go tell everybody about it. I remember, Charlene, when you first came on board, you were the Pied Piper telling anybody that would come near you about living benefits. That's what you got to be. You got to be excited about a concept and go tell it to anybody. And she's right. I've heard that. That's the first time I heard that conversation about this talking. Bob Safford, who was one of the first original people in A.L. Williams, which became Primerica, used to say that about if you just stood on a corner in New York and just said that to everybody that walked by, you'd be making all kinds of sales. And just open your mouth, because they're looking for us, okay? Now I'm going to give you some things, and hopefully you're ready to write, because you're going to love these. And I'll put these into the group chat later, and that you'll like this, because I want to talk about the mindset. But last night I was listening to a guy on a training at Aki's office, and the guy did fantastic in a very conversational way. He was all talking about retirement, but it was very conversational. And it was things like, instead of going, listen, I want you to teach you things that make people go, oh, I never thought about that. Or it make them mad, move them to action. That thing that you just saw earlier from Kimberly should upset you, fire you up, going, how is that possible? Go share that. Share that story all the time. But the guy last night was talking, and I know how, we've seen Zach do Brother A and Brother B, and Mauricio talks about the buckets, and Rory talks about the way he does it, and Sean Sandruden does the X curve. But this guy, in one sentence, it made total sense. He stood up, he goes, you know what? I know everybody thinks 401ks are great. He goes, but I realized that wasn't a product that was built for me. It was built for somebody else. And just that statement made me completely think he's right. And I love conversational things like that, okay? And we've been giving you great things. The thing we gave you a couple of weeks ago, hey, we teach people how to refinance their retirement. Don't forget, that's a powerful statement. How many people are you talking to about it, okay? And the other ones, have you ever heard of a government that taxed their people into prosperity? There's no such thing, right? That's not how it works, okay? Now, Tim, a minute ago, gave you just this great pearl. Do you understand how incredible insurance is? Life insurance is a shield. The government does all these bad, crazy things, and they change all this stuff, but insurance stays there. And what is insurance the greatest tool for? Kimberly told you earlier, it's the only way to transfer in tax-free situations onto wealth, but also it is the only answer to longevity, which is the biggest threat to your retirement. Understand that. That's how powerful that is, okay? Now, right now, there's the philosophy going on in the industry, or this kind of a marketing tool that I really like, okay? And when you're talking to somebody, one of the points that we show them is that you got to pay yourself first. And a lot of it is working on people's minds. People think about saving way later. They think about, I got to get all my debts paid off, then I'll save. They got the manana syndrome. I'll put tomorrow. I'll go do all those things. Or I'll pay off this credit card, then I'll start saving. And what happens is they need to have what we call the building your spending plan around your savings goal instead of the reverse. Too many people plan their savings, later with what's left over. So there's a new philosophy many people are using, and it's called the 50-30-20 formula. It's a reverse budget. And what it does is that you should have 20% of your money go toward your investment, your savings. Then 30% go to what you want and 50% go to what you need. And if you do that 50-30-20, people buy into that, people will become successful. So right now that's getting some traction. I like it because it's a great marketing idea because people like cool new things. So you could ask people, hey, are you using the 50-30-20 plan? 50% of your money pay your bills, 30% on what you got to pay it for your 30%. 30% for your wants, and then 20% for your retirement. So I like that. Okay. Also, and I like this phrase also because I love any statement that simply conveys a product in one sentence. The idea of be your own bank is that someone puts money inside of an insurance contract. They then have the right to borrow that money out and use it for things they want to go use it. And one of the big reasons that that's a great concept is that when you take your money out on a loan, that money still continues to grow. So if you ask somebody if they know what uninterrupted compound interest is, they'll go, what does that mean? I like this phrase, uninterrupted compound interest. But it also we teach people how they can have the ability to save and use your money at the same time. That is a powerful statement. We teach people how to save and use their money simultaneous. And they're going to want to know, what is that? You want people to say, what is that? Tell me more about that. It sounds like you know something I need to know. So you get these nuggets. We're going to give them to you every week. But you got to go use them. We're not throwing these out to make you feel good and think, oh man, we're smart or something. No, we're not. We just went and looked them up. I mean, you can find the same stuff, but you got to go use them. I'm trying to find things that are timely for you to go use. Now, if you go in the manual, there's that big page that says hold a meeting. That's all we're talking about. A hold a meeting means do something where you're given exposure. And all these ideas are great, whether it's in a library. You can go, I know here at a community center not far from my home, it's where there's some meeting rooms, and they have wedding receptions, and there's even a workout and basketball facility inside of it. That there's people in there teaching classes on how money works. But I'll tell you, if you want to you got to find the things that people want to know. I will tell you, no matter what you think about insurance, if you give a seminar and it's about insurance and they think it's about insurance, they're not coming. You can get them stone drunk and give them a whole bottle of wine. They're not coming to go hear about what they think is life insurance because they do not know what it is. Now, remember, why do people go to Home Depot and Lowe's and buy a drill? Not because they want a drill. They want a hole in the wall. Right? They want the hole in the wall. They want to hang the picture, so they got to go get the drill. Nobody wants to buy a drill. Same thing here. They want what insurance can provide. So we need to have, when you're out teaching concepts or getting people to come hear you, you got to know the sexy concepts. What are the things people want to know right now? Well, the wills and trusts, people know it's important. That is going to become easier and easier to sell because the more funerals you go to, like I did on Monday, the more you realize the reality of life and the reality of death. And then you realize, hey, I probably, and you get this older, more and more people are hitting that age to where they're going to do something about that. I'll tell you something else. I think if you were to have in whatever place you have it in your home, a church, if it's appropriate, or a cultural center or whatever, wherever you have it, that you could have something on how to build generational wealth. That is a big topic. If people think they can come learn how to create generational wealth, they will come because they all want that. Even the brokest person wants to create generational wealth. Now, I'm going to tell you, as a team, we're getting ready to overlap and provide you once every 6 weeks what's called an economic summit. We used to do these all the time. We're going to do these in person, and we're also going to do them on a Zoom, to give you some opportunities to be able to have people come to where we have people that are experts on 2 or 3 of these subjects. Get everybody together. We can do one virtual and we can do them locally. We want to listen, we're going to attack on all sides. We're going to, when there's a war, you got the land, the sea, and the air. You got to have the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, the Navy. You need them all. But here we need to be attacking with virtual, and we need to be attacking with you out giving, small presentations as you're out talking to people and opening your mouth. So 10 times a day, open your mouth about some concept. Just throw the bait out there. See if a fish will jump in the boat and get the bait. Okay, you never know what's going to happen. So those things are very important. But also, guys, I want to tell you something. I was with Mauricio Garcia last night, and I saw we have a program that's this close to coming out for our team only. And we'll be the only ones that has this in the industries, and it's going to be a game changer that you cannot comprehend. It will take somebody that's brand new, take them right through our system, and it'll give you a tool where you're going to be like, oh my God, I just got to go recruit the world and let them use this tool, and we'll all go become successful. So right now, we should be emboldened to open our mouths because, listen, if we don't, somebody else will. We got the best story, but it doesn't matter if the story's not told. Whoever tells their story the loudest and more often will have the most successful story. And so that's what we have to go do. So I'm very excited about today. I really appreciate the conversation. Is there anyone here who has any questions? All right. Well, real quick, as we wrap up, I'm going to show you one thing. If anyone has any questions from today. Let me pull up one thing here, and we will end by me showing you this. But I think it's pretty, I think, Kimberly, if you allow me to, on my other device here to show my screen.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, no worries. Got me?
Gotcha.
Thank you. All right, guys. Show you the power of why you need to understand the power of compounding over time. But I want to show you this, and I don't know if any of you have seen this, but I think it's pretty amazing. That Bill Gates, had he not sold shares along the way, he would be worth 1.47 trillion. Now, he's still obviously one of the wealthiest men in the world, but he would be the wealthiest by a significant margin if he had held all the shares that he had from the beginning. I think there's a lot of stories in that. Sometimes, don't get bored. Don't, and obviously he's had a great plan and he's done what was right for him. But too many people start saving money and they think they have a little bit of saved, and then they see something shiny that they want. They'll go buy it. And what did it cost them? What did it cost them? Okay. I also want to show you this other picture real quick. And this is from last night. I was over at the other office and I was just thinking about, who are your partners? Who are you spending time around? And I want you to be around successful people, be around people because, what Aki's just done in the company has been historic. He just was the first one to become what's called an office. What's it called? A family office or not a family office? Can't remember. It's an IPO thing, but it's partner office, whatever it is. It's a piece with integrity to where he went out and he was able to go out and
Integrity
become.
Partner Office.
Thank you, Peter. Integrity Partner Office. That he went and did that, and that's a huge deal. What a trailblazer! And guys, I want you to understand just the power of this business, and that we have the opportunity for people truly to be able to go out and to become generationally wealthy with this business. We have the greatest business opportunity. It creates cash flow for people to go out and use all these products that we're talking about. And then if you go study the wealthy people, and I'm going to talk about this next week, over time, if you looked at a graph, a pie chart of where all their money was spent, when they first start out, it's got some that's in stock, some that's in retirement. And over time, that becomes less and less. And the majority of the money for people that become multimillionaires and billionaires is in their business. And that's where they created the equity. And we're going to teach you that here, you really have a chance. And that's all I want. It's like Jim Carrey said in Dumb and Dumber. If you know that scene, he asked that girl that he's in love with, he says, do I have a chance with it? She goes, I don't know. And he goes, what is it? Do I have 1 in 100? She goes, no. She goes, more like 1 in a million. And he's all excited because he says, you're telling me I got a chance. And here we got a big chance. We got a big chance to have a company. Listen, I got 2 guys in another room that are here. One's from California, one's from Salt Lake. And they were with us before with A.L. Williams, Primerica, and even the beginning of WFG. And man, when they walked through here, they saw the checks and they're like, man, you guys are actually paying out that kind of money. It redefined what is really going on for today. And that's just so, so exciting. So thank all of you. Go open your mouth, become emboldened, take what you heard from today, open your mouth all over, go tell the story. Stephanie, did you have a comment?
Yes, Jody, I just wanted to add, because actually Saida and I were just talking about it, about the huge opportunity that we have, and I wish everyone would know and understand like how big it is. In less than 7 months, Britzy and I have accumulated $168,000 in equities. So if people does not understand the power of what we're doing right now and how much money you can make and accumulate with the opportunity that HEI gives and provide to everyone, then we're not understanding the game. So I just wanted to share that, and that's just the beginning. We're looking for the goals that HEI set up for us this year, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna achieve that and more than that.
I love it. And guys, you keep growing. We had one of the best meetings that I've ever been part of this past Saturday at your office. I mean, just take a second as we finish. What did you feel out of that day?
Well, that day was very special. We all cried, we all laughed, we all were very passionate about, the whole meeting that we had with you. And it was, as you said, I felt too that you were talking to the right people. And I think that's the generals, that's actually the leaders that are going to help us achieve and go to the next level. So it was very excited to know and like
It's
be
awesome.
more
Yeah.
conscious about the opportunity that we have. And it really fired up everyone in the team.
I love it. And thank you.
And then she's saying that this month she's for sure RMD Platinum, and she's gonna achieve her $100,000 because she's gonna receive her ring in Vegas.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And Kimberly, it was very much like it was more of a retreat meeting, like the meetings that we've had. It was like a family, it was like a family huddle, which we've done. And we're going to do a lot more of these, guys. We're going to be not just all this product knowledge, which is great, and we're going to give you more and more and more of it. We're also going to have some team retreats to where we come in and really get to the fundamentals of what it is we're all doing. So thanks all you guys. Have a great day, and hey, 30 minutes, get your people on. Hey, Breezy, good to see you. But it's 30 minutes, we'll be doing the Bop Live, so get your people on. And Taurus, you're a stud. You're doing a great job getting people on all these calls because you had a great group on last night. So thanks, guys. See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you.